Legends and Super Legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. Today is a warmer day than we usually have. It's starting out about 58 Fahrenheit, which is about 12 Celsius thereabout, and it's going to probably warm up to like 14 Celsius. Cloudy day, overcast. I decided to go old school today, wearing my old knickers with the white in the front and shoes kind of matching with the old toe strap look. That's what I'm going to use. I'm wearing my photochromic lenses that change with the amount of light you get on you on the outside. So right now it's clear, so it's easy for me to deal with. And getting ready to go. Because it's nice and mild, I'm wearing my regular fingerless gloves. That's going to be perfect. That's how you regulate heat. You can cover certain areas and not. The hat is maybe, I might keep it on, I might take it off. It'll probably stay on. But when it's mild like that, you have to be careful because you don't know what the wind will feel like. And since it's not going to change that much, we've got about maybe 3 to 5 degrees of change. I think that I'll be okay with the hat on. If not, I can just put it in my jersey pocket. So I plan to be out there for at least 5 hours. Got all my food and everything packed, and it's time to roll. This is what the boys back in the day, especially Claude Criquelian from Belgium, used to love wearing these kind of knickers. I like the look. So I hope you all get a chance to get some K's in. Keep those doctors fired. On this ride, I left Northampton about 6:45. Paul was running behind. You can see him there on the graphic. I got there probably about 5 minutes before he did. We hooked up with Team RR. We went southwest on this ride into the area close to the direction of Tomball. But there's a road called Nickel Sawmill Road. We took that back out through Old Hempstead Road back to Magnolia on 1486 and towards Jackson Road. At that point we left the group. We went up north towards Dacres. We did Mount Moriah Road and then backtracked on Mount Moriah Road, went back through the Tri-Lakes area. There was a lot of filming that Paul did that has a lot of action. I hope you all will enjoy the clips. But we did a lot more than the group, so we basically left them because they were turning back too early. Paul and I came back through Keenan and cut back. We ended up with more than 160 something kilometers on this ride. So I took him to Cimarron, that's what you see there. I wanted to show him that area. There are 2 8% climbs in there, and he really liked it. I knew he was gonna like the area. So it was a good opportunity to show him that route because it's close to home and it's something we can do. I hope you got a chance to get some K's in. We did about 180 kilometers.
Once you get past, Garden Store, once you get past Huffsmith Corp or whatever it is,
the discussing
you go
route.
up that little skinny road out to 149.
Last week you went up to Richard.
That's Mark talking about the option.
Okay, you go through Stagecoach, Nickel
Mark's been
Sawmill.
posting the group ride info because Scott, who's the leader, has been incognito, missing in action for the last month or so.
Just come riding to see how I feel.
Okay, anybody got any deadlines as far as being home at a certain time?
See how the day goes. This bike is going to punish me.
Anybody have any strong feelings about a route or? Pulling up at the last minute, all right.
That's Rick, barely making it in. We're ready to roll 7:36.
So we're thinking
Paul
about
got
going
there
out
probably
Harvest
about
Road,
7:34,
all the way out
7:35.
to-
He just got there a little while.
Is that 149? Cross over there, go through Stagecoach, take a right by the Christmas tree farm, go out to Nickel
We're gonna go
Sawmill, take a
southwest
left. Who was with us when
and
the
come
police
back
officer
north.
was sitting on the side of the road and told us we were going 23 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Then going through that neighborhood, coming back over to 1488 to the Texaco station right here, and go back through the neighborhoods again, come out right by West Magnolia High School on 1486.
I was reminding
by Chris's
Paul that
house.
he's been on this route
Go down
before
1486 to
with
Jackson, take a right on Jackson, and come back.
Yeah, the 8 kilometer you see there, we're not moving it. It's just a sync. Sometimes when it's stationary, what's important is the RPM is 0, so it's not calculating anything.
Everybody ready?
It's time to go. 7:37. We're rolling out. I usually get there right around 7:30, and I spin in the area because I don't like to wait too long. So I spin for a minute or two before I roll into the parking lot. Because they leave around 7:35, so you got a 5-minute window. That's it. So that was Rick that came in the green jersey late. That's Victor behind me there. The route that he described was not even up to 60 miles. So what 60 miles is probably about 88, 90 kilometers maybe. So we're planning on doing at least 160 kilometers. So from the route he laid out, our option was to not take the last turn on Jackson Road to come back south. We're just going to continue to go north. So we're going to go south on this road instead of turning right like we usually do. We're heading westerly towards Tomball, Texas. We're heading southwest. That's Rick there, that's Victor on the left there. Haven't seen Victor on many of the rides. He's been showing up sparingly. I do one group ride a week. That's plenty for me. The rest of the time I like to just ride solo. Unless Paul is available, then we roll together. It's not easy to coordinate schedules with other people. Sometimes it just slows you down. Paul wearing his Rafa tricolor jersey there with the matching cap. The kit looks nice. With the Scatante. So at this point in the ride, we had turned off the camera because the warm-up was just dragging on. At this point in the ride, the action's ready to start. We're turning on Field Store Road here off of 2978. Yeah, that was Rick up there messing around. This road is damp, and this is one of these odd curves coming up on that corner there where that car, you see that car braking? Even the cars have problems going around. They've got the banking, I think, the wrong way. The road leans to the right, and so I've seen a Porsche slide off this road in the rain while I was riding one time. So you see the banking is to the right. It's odd. It should have banked the other way, but I think they did that to get water off the road when it rains, because that's a very low area. You can see it's kind of cloudy. This fog pretty much hanging around. It's not a whole lot of wind at this point. And I think I ended up taking off my glasses after a bit because it was just getting all kinds of moisture on it. Can't really see that well with it. That's why you can see that on the camera. And Paul keeps up with it. Now, since we were planning on riding a lot of hours as usual, my plan was to just pace myself, work only as hard as I needed to, not waste a lot of energy. That's pretty much the way we ride. That's Neville in front of me. I'm not sure who's pulling, but pace is picking up nicely. This road has a slight grade. The wind is picking up, which starts to clear the fog. The day stays primarily overcast anyway. We're progress very quickly on this road. This is a busy road, fairly busy. I mean, it's not very busy this Saturday morning, but it's not a road to have a conversation on. You gotta work. So we're using the lane, and so cars will have to pass because the road is too narrow to encourage them to pass in our lane. And that's the proper way to ride on a road like this. There's a light up here. We're going straight. Some of the guys on the right are going to move over because that's for the right turn. Not sure why Rick is on that side. That's what annoys drivers. If you're going straight, get in the straight lane. Don't get in the lane that's turning right to go straight. Don't know what he's doing up there. Rick does all kinds of weird stuff when he shows up. So don't copy riders that don't do things that make sense. I don't care to ride with people that don't follow the rules of the road or just do stuff that upset the other road users as a habit. I mean, most of my rides are solo. I do a group ride on the weekend, which you guys see here. But you just need to know the rules of the road and ride accordingly. You will have less problems with the other road users. But where he was, if there was a car turning right, he'd be in their way. Don't take over the whole road. Use the proper lane that you need. You can see there's a car behind us. He's going to pass in the other lane when it's safe. That's the way you want them to pass you on the road like this. Even if especially if you're riding solo, you must use the road. Don't ride by the edge of the road on the white line. Ride where you see me right now, where the right tire of the cars ride. The cleanest spot, and that's where you're supposed to be. That's the spot that motorcyclists use. And that's where you should use with your bicycle on a road like this. But don't get on a road like this to ride at a conversational pace or to chat and socialize. That's just not the proper venue. Find much quieter roads. So as you can see, we got our head down and we're working. If you want to ride, you can ride two abreast on a road like this, but it's kind of inconsiderate. We ride like this, single file, so the drivers can see around us to pass easily. If you do a double pace line on a road like this, it's harder for them to see around you. And you notice when we rode the bike bar on some of those videos that would do the double pace line, but it would be on roads that had two lanes. It would just take the right lane. On a road like this, they even ride single file. This is what you want to do in a group. Single file. If the group is very large, then you guys might want to break up the pack so the cars can get around you easier, because it's hard for them to pass you if you're just a long line of riders. That guy didn't give himself much room to go by. You know, they're always in a hurry. They make poor decisions sometimes, so you have to be aware of that. And if you need to hit your brakes, you hit your brakes. Don't get involved in an incident because you're trying to say, "Oh, I have the right to be here." That's not important. What matters is your safety, first of all. So most drivers pass us like you're seeing with no problem. In a few kilometers, you'll see some genius that passes and then blares his horn as he goes by because he had to wait. But Paul was like, "Oh, really?" or something like that. I just ignore it. I don't give them the time of day. They're ignorant. It's not my problem. As long as he doesn't interfere with your progress, just ignore it. So we're moving here. Victor pulled off the front, and I think Rick has taken over. We're heading towards Nickel Sawmill. We're heading towards 249, which is a little south of Tomball. Tomball is to the right. We're not going to go into Tomball, we'll go around it. I got that wrong. Tomball is actually south of this road. Pombal is to the left. So we're gonna go north when we get to Nickel Sawmill area. So if we were to turn left on 240 now, we'll point that out, Pombal will be there. That's where Robert did. We got to meet Robert Tangler in the neighborhood this weekend. He said he saw us on 1488. I was taking Paul to show him Cimarron, and he saw us there. So when we got in the neighborhood, he was there. It was kind of cool to meet him in person. And he rides out here. He rides in the same area we're riding, Creekside, you know. So Creekside is an area that's really favored by cyclists. You can ride a big loop of about probably 5 miles, I think, without intersections. So you can get a good workout. The speeds are fast. I'm soft pedaling or not pedaling just to maintain my position, because when it goes to -0, you get sucked into the riders in front of you, because I'm in the draft, and so I get sucked along. So I will soft pedal or stop pedaling just to avoid using my brakes. I think there are tracks coming up. That's what I'm pointing at. And I go ahead and stand because there are 2 tracks within about maybe 250 meters of each other. So I see that, and I just remain standing. And I change my position, change the way my muscles are being used, because I see there's another set of tracks over here. I don't like to go over tracks seated just as a habit. Some of them are smoother than others. This one is smooth, but still, I just let my bike bounce. You don't have to true your wheels very often. Anytime the surface is uneven, I stand. Whenever I'm seated, I focus more on using the big muscles in the back of my legs, and I rest my quadriceps. I use my quadriceps for short bursts of power and acceleration. They're gonna start everything, so I save them as much as possible, because those explosive efforts will tap into your glycogen. Right here, I stay on the road. That shoulder is dirty, and it doesn't last very long. We've been here before, and when I'm riding, I'm always looking around the riders, and I look ahead so I can call out obstacles or whatever, but I want to know what's coming. I don't want to be surprised. That's what you want to do when you're in the pace line. Don't just focus on the wheel in front of you. Glance around. Make sure you know what's coming, just like you do when you ride solo. But when you see when Paul flipped the camera back there, those guys are not drafting very close. Every time he flips the camera, he loses a little bit of ground. That's what you saw over there. So he rides back up here. If you're sitting in the back and you're not drafting closely, you're wasting energy. I understand that Victor doesn't stay close because he's on his TT bars, but you need to be close. This road's going up here. It may not register, but I can feel it. I've got my cadence up, because first of all, there's not a whole lot of riders in the group, and a lot of riders don't like to pull necessarily. So I've decided at this point in the ride, I decided that it wasn't hard at this point for me, so I was going to stay at the front longer when my turn came up, so I could get a harder workout. This is where I made that decision. Stop sign coming up, and then I think we're near 249 after the stop sign. I don't come down here solo. During the week it's kind of busy. I don't like to come on this side. When you're riding in the group and it's hard, these are the kind of efforts that can tap into your energy store, so you need to stay close. You see, as we went through the light, don't leave a lot of gap when you go through the light or when they slow down. Stay close to the wheel. You don't have to be drafting tightly, but you just need to be within reach. So when they get going after the intersection, you're there. So you don't have to do a lot of chasing. So the green comes up, and watch. I had to kick it to get going. That's 249. We just crossed Highway 249. Tomball is to our left. I'm making sure I stay close, because any energy I save here I can use when I get to the front of the pole. You can see the speeds picking up. This is the reason I keep my gears moderate. It allows you to accelerate easily without straining yourself. After this stop sign, Rick pulls off. He ends up going in the grass, the dirt. I'm like, why is he going way over there? Look where he is. I don't know what he's doing. You know, all you have to do is pull off and stay to the right. We'll come around you on the left like we did. Don't need to leave the road. When you're riding, avoid trying to leave the road, especially at speed. If you hit the dirt at speed, sometimes it can cause you to fall, because the traction is different, the surface is different, and you may not be expecting what it does to your bike. So that's our village idiot comes by blowing. That's why Paul said whatever. I just ignored him. Get over it. We're using a road. You don't like it, go build your own private road. So Mark is pulling at this point. Neville is in front of me. I'm behind Neville. Paulie Longa is on my wheel. This road is continually slightly up, and then the wind now is picking up. We can feel it. But you're working the entire time. It is never perfectly flat. The metrics on there does not display anything below 1%, or the fractions. So it'll give you 1, 2, and so forth, the prime numbers. So Mark is still sitting there. I go ahead and I'm in a gear that is comfortable. I let my cadence fall in the 80s, because really the pace is not hard. So I figure I'm not really riding hard. I'm adjusting the tongue in the shoe that felt uncomfortable. I noticed that Mark had been sitting there for a good bit, so I figured he'd be coming off soon. He's kept the speed, the effort steady, which is good, kind of keeps the group together. But at this point, I'm not working very hard, so I just put it in moderate gear and keep my cadence in the 80s. Do my best to stay out of the wind wherever possible. There's a curve coming and they're slowing down for it. I'm not really sure why, so I just coast. I move out. I don't want to slow down too much. It's just a regular curve. I don't know why I needed to slow down that much. Staying really close to Neville's wheel. The wind's kind of swirling around a bit. It's not a perfect draft, even though I'm close. We're going to be turning soon. Yeah, we're turning left at the corner. And when you're turning in the group, make sure you stay fairly close. Don't fall too far behind, because any gap you create, you will have to close. If you're gonna drift maybe half a bike length, that's fine, but not much more than that. Not sure exactly where Mark pulls off, but at this point I notice he's been there for a while. And right here, this road's going up a bit. You can see it visually. It may or may not register, but we feel it. Right here it goes downhill, and then where that car is, it's gonna kick back up. I stay in the same gear, just kind of rev it up a bit. It's a good pace he's maintaining. For me, I'm right sitting in endurance zone. And because I'm sitting in the back, enjoying the draft, I allow my cadence to fall. I'm just in a mild gear. It's almost like you're just kind of cruising. But I'm in a gear that I can rev up when I need to. I'm probably sitting in a 17, 53, 52, 17 is probably what I'm doing. Begins to pick up at this point in the morning. Goes to the left. It's a slight grade as it goes to the left. You know, that's the thing with this area. Everything's about 0.7, 0.9. Then we'll get to a few 2 to 3% climbs, but they're short. Roadkill on the road here. So in a little while the road kind of goes slightly downhill and then it will kick back up. I'm just focusing on staying in the draft, save my energy. Because I plan on spending a good amount of time at the front to get a good workout. The road's going up up here, I can just tell. You can see it in the picture. Now it says 1%. I don't do much shifting here. I want my legs to work today. So it's power to gear. End up soft pedaling. It's a slight downhill here. You see where I am? I can see around them, so I know what's coming. I'm always looking ahead. We're turning left at the corner. I think there's a car coming, so we'll let everybody know there's a car coming so nobody cuts the corner. The road's a little choppy here, so I stand, take the load off my wheels. I think at this point here, Mark is done pulling, because he pulls over to the right there. I'll go ahead and kick it up and ride up to level. This is a climb. It's a light climb. I'm looking around Neville to see what's coming. I'm looking at the surface of the road. And it looks pretty good up the road there, really. So I kind of look like a quarter mile to a half mile ahead. About a half a kilometer or so I can see what's coming. When you're riding, that's your responsibility. Don't depend on people pointing things out. Stay at one side or the other. That's why I stay on the hoods when I'm in the back mostly, because you can see around other riders easier. Right here on this climb, it's a good bump. I don't downshift. I just muscle whatever gear you can see. I'm muscling that gear on purpose. It says 77. It felt like 60, but it was higher. I just muscle the gear. I wanted my legs to work, because up until this point, the ride has been easy for me. So that's how you can work harder. Use a harder gear. You know, it'll build strength in your legs if the pace is not hot enough for you. But then I immediately return to my normal pedaling. I'm sitting very close. I'm probably about 6 inches or less from his wheel. Stop sign coming. You're making a right turn. We're heading towards Nichols Sawmill Road. So Neville continues to pull. I figure in a short while he's going to have to get off the front, because he's pulling pretty hard at a pace I didn't think was very sustainable. I stand up just to kind of loosen up my muscles, and we proceed. We're headed west now. We started southwest, then we went west and north. Now we're going more west, and we're gonna go north. We're headed towards Magnolia when we get to Nichols Sawmill Road. This road is a slight grade. Seems like all of them are. Not as steep as we have in Montgomery. It says 1%. I have not shifted. I believe I'm still sitting in my 17 or something like that. wanted my legs to get a good workout. It's forcing the pace here, I can tell. So I apply more force to the pedals. The road's settling down. It's flattening out right here. Pretty flat. Went up a little bit of a grade back there. I stay very close to his wheel. It minimizes the effort I need to make. Slightly to the left of his wheel. That's where the draft seems to be best at this point. But these roads, they're turning, so it changes. So you always have to look for the most optimum spot to benefit from the draft. It's not constant. You have to look for it. It's a slight downhill here. Going downhill, so I don't even need the pedal. Leveling off again. So beautiful roads to ride on. Don't let anyone intimidate you when you go out to ride your bike. You have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Don't let anyone interfere with that. So never pulls off to the right. I just continue the same effort he was doing. I just roll through. And since I'm at the front, I kick up my cadence. So I alternate throughout the pull. I pull for a long time on this ride. I alternate between the drops and the hoods. I'm in the drops right now. And we're moving. Mark's asking if we need to stop. I told him no. It's about an hour since we hooked up with him. We don't need to stop. So he asked if I knew where we're going. I know the general area, but I don't know what turns he was making. So he decides that he will just, he told me, a little while he will come back and tell me we got a couple of miles of pavement before the turn. So I kind of have an idea. There's a gas station there we're passing that he was suggesting whether we wanted to stop. It's too early to stop. The bottle's still full. It's a cool morning, and I need to stop. So as soon as we stop, the light turns green. So then Victor comes around at the corner, and then Rick is all the way in the dirt. He loves riding in the dirt. So it's like, I don't know what they're doing, but watch. They did all of that, and they're in the way. So if you're not gonna pull, what was that all about? I look back for Paul and just resume what I was doing and roll through. So I get back up to speed here, same rhythm, at a sustainable pace. That's what matters. You see my speed 25, we're going into the wind, and this is a grade. Now it says 2%. These are the kind of roads that don't look like hills, but you feel them. You cannot disregard them. You need to use your gears. You downshift and you keep your cadence up. Don't worry about the speed. Focus on the effort you're putting out. We turn into a grade, and you see it continues and it goes to the right. So don't just focus on speed. That's why I tell people speed is a red herring. Don't train to speed. You can't contain that. It's not under your control. It's not possible to train to speed. It changes all the time. Speed is what the terrain and the conditions will give you. Effort you control. I'm riding 3 out of 5 here. It's a good clip. We're moving. The wind's coming from the right and in my face, so I stay to the right just in case somebody wants to be on my left. This lane is a little wider than the one we originally started on. It's got a tiny shoulder. I stay on the white line so the boys that want to draft to my left, I think that's where Paul is. Because I always look to see where the wheel that's following me is located behind me. If it's on my left, I stay right. If it's on my right, I stay a little more to the left. I think Mark's giving instructions or something, because I look back, I think I heard something. I believe this is Nickel Sawmill Road. I may be wrong. And look at the gaps back there. Paul is just drafting closely. The rest of them are just, there's a lot of gaps. They're not tight in there. And you waste a lot of energy. Keep everything steady. This is the pace that Paul and I ride at most of the time. You hear the wind is picking up, the road's undulating. Get over a little bit of a bump. Now you see it levels off here. It says -0, but it's mostly flat. All I do is I keep my upper body relaxed and I get into a rhythm. This is a pace I can do all day. There's a stop sign coming out. That's what Mark was calling out. I think he mentioned that we're going to go to the right. So I'm letting Paul know we're going to veer. It's a Y intersection. We're going to veer off to the right. And this is where Mark told me that it would be about 2 miles of beautiful pavement. I was like, oh, this is cool. So I settled into a rhythm.
Elder, once we pass this stop sign up here, you got a good straight stretch of road for a couple miles.
That's what Mark's telling me. So after the stop sign, it's like 2 miles straight stretch of road. I take a drink. And that's what that's how I was trained when I got into cycling. It is a group ride. So if you're feeling good, yeah, take your cuts at the front. Especially as a small group, so I'm gonna stay there longer, take a longer turn at a slightly lower pace, but not easy pace. This way people get a chance to really rest and we can share the load that way. I'm letting them know to slow down because I want to check to make sure there are no cars because the corner's blind. So I stand up to see It's clear. I let them know it's clear. It's a neighborhood. Nothing's coming. I see they're off my wheel a bit, so I wait. Once they get back, resume. I settle back into a rhythm. We got a nice stretch of road here. There's not going to be an intersection for a while. So I settle into a rhythm. Since I know Paul is on my left, I make sure that I keep all obstacles to the right where possible. That means if anything's on the right that's going to affect us, like a hole in the road or whatever, I make sure I pass it on the left. You can see his wheel is to my left, because I know where he is. We're moving here. It's a good clip, nice road, a little bit of wind. The alternate back, I go to the drop for a bit. My upper body position does not change. It just changes the way my body's working. It's something when you go in the drop, a slight variation. So it's just nice to do that. I use all the positions on my bar. You can hear the wind. And when I went down, you can see my speeds increase. It says -0, basically a flat road. Riding at a pace I can sustain. That's what matters, instead of going crazy for 100 meters and scatter the group all over the road. This just makes more sense. Somebody calls car up. When we got to the stop on this ride, Michael came over and told me, thank you for keeping the pace of the group, the sanity of the group. You know, what he meant was I rode at a pace that made sense and kept everybody together, but everyone got a workout, including myself. I'm fighting the wind up here. It's not easy. But there was no let up. I'll move back to the hoods and continue to work. That's the way I train. Pick a pace and go. And there are days when I do sprints or intervals and other things, but that's incorporated into a ride like this. So when I'm resting, this is the pace I'm resting at. Then I do my intervals above this pace. The ride at the top level, that's what you have to do. I hear a wheel right there. I think you saw a little bit of a wheel protruding. I just continue to work my same pace. I don't know who it was. I think it was Victor trying to come. He likes to come up on the left anytime the road goes up. This road, that's just a slight grade. I wasn't paying attention to him. I was riding. I knew I could do this all day. I just kept riding. Instead of sitting back there and coming and pulling the group, he wants to come on the left and do something for 100 yards, then goes to the back and sits there for the rest of the ride. Makes no sense. But you will see him pay for those efforts later in the ride when he gets dropped on a climb right before Jackson Road, before we left the group. It gets hot and heavy, and we put the hammer down, and he was nowhere. So you pay the price when you ride inefficiently. I move over because there's a big vulture here eating something on the road. There he is. he was not gonna move, so I just gave him plenty of room. I didn't want him flying in front of me. It's a big bird. He's eating something. So I moved by the yellow line to give him room. So we continue and we're rolling. The pace has been kept up. I'm in zone 4. At the bottom of zone 4 for me. But this is a hard effort. The pavement deteriorates as we get in this section here. In a short while, I go ahead and wave somebody up to the front. I look back for cars, wave them over. And a few of them come through. Now I see a gap. See, not everybody comes through, so I just go ahead and fill the gap. You know, Paul stays behind so he can film, but there are other riders that did not come through, so I just jump in that gap right there in front of Paul. So Victor and Neville are sitting back there along with Rick. Mark is back at the front. Now Mark had done a lot of pulling before Neville took over. So, you know, he's back at the front again. We're not getting everybody taking their cuts. And that's fine. People can't do it. But what annoys me is when people sit in, don't take their pull, they want to sprint later in the ride. That's just annoying. Because nobody's going to pull you in a race. You come to the group ride, if you can sprint, you can pull. We're turning right. This guy's turning left. It's clear on the other side, so we go ahead and go. I stay with Mark because he's up here. Instead of falling behind and trying to ride back up to him, I just sit up there. Because for some reason, people are just leaving all these gaps. See how visible my shoes are? They designed those shoes on purpose like that. Those are Giro's, they call those Pro, I forgot the name anyway. It's a few years old shoes. I take care of them so they look pretty good, but the design is such that from the back you see the whites because your feet are moving. That's what people see. But they put a lot of thought into how they design them. That's Victor coming on the left again. This is what I talked about. Instead of going to the front and pulling the group, he's going to come on the left and waste a lot of energy going nowhere. Pavement is all chopped up. All I'm doing is I'm looking around Mark and finding my own line. Because they're not potholes, they're just cracks. So if you find a good line, you avoid all of the bumps. And this pavement here improves. There's a stop sign, it's clear. We're going straight. I'm not sure why they're slowing down. I just want to ride. I believe this is Nickel Sawmill Road. I called it kind of early. This is Nickel Sawmill Road. Nice and smooth. So all those gaps, they're picking up a lot of wind. I go ahead and reach for a gel here. I had something to eat on the way to meet these guys. It's a little over an hour since I've been with them, so I put something else in the tank. I'm not hungry or low on energy or anything, but you want to do that before you need it. I take a gel because I'm working and I don't want to eat anything solid at this point. I'll put the wrapper under my jersey and resume. I'll throw it away when we get to the stop. Paul is asking if everybody's here, and nobody answers. I kind of told him forget about it. I don't think he heard me or not. Just quit asking. There's Victor. Victor muscling a big gear. He hasn't learned how to ride yet. So in a little while you will see Victor go to the front on one of his flyers and does not do it long enough to do anything. You'll see what I'm talking about. But all of those exertions you pay for. Yeah, this is why Mark was accelerating. You see Mark scooting back? That tells me it's a problem with his fit. He doesn't like where he's sitting. And his saddle's too high. Look at the rocking motion of his body. That's a telltale sign. Victor goes to the front, lifts the pace a little bit, but not by much. And then it turns out it's not something he can sustain. So because I just rolled up to his wheel and I'm sitting on there in the same gear, you can see my cadence is even low. So I'm pedaling slower to stay on his wheel because this road is going up and it's windy. See now it says 1%. Look at the road, it's going up. And we're going into the wind. It's harder than it low. When people sit in the back, they think it's easy. And they get up there and that wind hits them in the face. Then the reality sets in. So now he's really killing himself on this grade and into the wind. And he just can't do it very long. You'll see. But all the time that he spent sitting in the wind on the side, he could have saved that energy to come and take a long, decent pull. Don't feel obligated to go to the front if you're not feeling good. Sit in and stay with the group so people don't have to wait for you. A lot of groups will not wait to be riding alone. See, he pulled up. It hadn't been that long to do anything. I just continued doing what I was doing. It's harder than it looks. There's a stop sign coming on, so I'm checking. It kind of dead ends from the left into this road. Let them know to slow down so we can look. Make sure nothing's coming. Tell them it's clear. Mark's telling Paul to come and tell me that this road goes to 1488. Wind has picked up and we're riding at a good effort here. This is Michael sitting in the draft. Paul Ilonga is behind him. So if you notice, Mark did a lot of pulling. I've been doing a lot of pulling. Victor just took a short pull. In every group there will be a few riders that will be taking the pull. That's fine. If you're feeling good, you take a pull. If you're not, just sit in. Because if you're getting a workout while you're in the back, then stay there until your fitness improves. That's what matters. So I continue the effort that I was doing before Victor came to the front. It's not easy. We're working hard. I'm right below my sweet spot area, but that's a hard effort. So this is like maybe 3 out of 5. That's Mark coming up to tell me where we're going to be turning. We're going to hit 1488. I let him know. I think I gave him thumbs up or I nodded my head. So this road dead ends into 1488, and that's where we're going to take our first stop. And then Paul comes up and he tells me here, man, you're pulling too much. Something like that. Oh, don't pull too much. And I just smile. I go ahead and get off the front. I wave them up. So Mark said, thanks, Eldred, for pulling. No. Just kind of nodded my head. I'm just looking for a gap to get in, that's all. Don't sit out there. If people leave a gap, fill the gap. Sit in. Even if you're feeling good, don't waste energy. Stand just to kind of stretch my legs. It just feels good to stand. The road kicks up a bit and goes to the left. It's a beautiful road up here. So it's not just the grade of the road that makes it hard, it's how you ride it. The gearing you use, the effort you're putting down, that's what matters. On steeper grades, you would just use smaller ratios. Our stop is coming up ahead. We're stopping about an hour and a half, almost an hour and a half into the ride. For us, it's almost 2 hours because we rode about 35 minutes to meet these guys. That's about when we stop. Every couple of hours, we might have to stop when we ride solo. That's kind of what we do. We don't stop very frequently when we ride solo. So this worked out perfectly. All I did at this stop was use the restroom. I did not need any liquids or anything.
Good. Can you slide a little bit forward? Oh yeah. Thanks.
I'm not sure why Rick is still clipped in. This is almost an hour and a half into the ride. We're stopping. You're still clipped in. We're gonna be here for a few minutes. So I turned off my lights here.
With all the interferences.
We're on the way. We're getting ready to leave. This is 60. It's a pretty short stop.
So we need
about probably
30 to go on.
Yeah.
You guys can, you don't have to
12
turn it
minutes
back.
or so.
No, we don't have to turn it up. We're gonna go off 1486.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hills.
You okay?
Longer earlier?
Yeah.
Saturday, dumb question. Saturday. I've been doing Saturday.
Yeah, so like the weather's nice, you go home
I
and
was
hang out.
calculating how many more kilometers we need
Yeah.
because they were riding short. So Mark was saying, you guys want to, I said Saturday. That's when we can go.
That's the problem. Right in the summertime, I get.
I saw these guys mowing the grass in the rain just so they can collect the checks that they leave under the carpet. I'm like, what a ripoff! It's not growing. The leaves are wet.
Yeah,
They're
people
blowing
pay
wet
guys to
in the
do
night.
long work all
dormant
year
since-
just throwing
I'll
money
pay for
away.
the leaves to get out.
Nothing
That's all
needs
I'll
to
pay
be
for.
done right
Which is
now.
nice, because the leaves are
St.
all
Augustine
Don't
grass
find
is
me, I'll
used
blow
down
them into
here.
the bed.
That's what we
I'll
call it.
blow them into the bed.
I thought now I'll blow the leaves into the beds. We have beds in the yard.
Be careful
so
with
instead
your
of
glasses
buying
on the floor.
Then in the spring when my yard is vibrant, they're like, what are you doing? I said, leave it the hell alone.
Yeah, I don't fuss with the yard. It just grows. I don't put any
St.
chemicals
Augustine,
in my
man, you
yard.
mow it as high as you possibly can.
Yeah.
St. Augustine, you got cut it
It looks good.
1 inch of
All the
water.
animals love my dog. I'm like, you can't make this. Yeah, the squirrels come in there.
I don't put chemicals in the yard to the birds and the squirrels that hang out in my yard. They like all the grubs that live there.
Yeah.
Don't need that stuff. Mulch the leaves, the lawnmower. I have a tractor
42.
instead of paying somebody to come do this stuff. I do my own. Make a
All
living
right,
doing
gentlemen,
lawn work.
pull over.
In our area, they charge $100 a week to do lawn. If you have a small yard, and if the yard's bigger, it's even more. So instead of paying them $100 a week, I can use that money for other purposes. Doesn't take that long. 2 hours or so, I've got my yard done.
Let's get these legs going
2 to 3
again.
hours. The tractor is faster. So we head out, and Mark is up front riding away, and I'm just kind of rolling behind Rick there. We stopped for about 12 or 13 minutes, I'm estimating, which was pretty good. Just long enough to
Clear.
get some drinks or use the restroom. It was very efficient. We ride solo, our stops are very efficient. We stop only when
Yeah, I
necessary.
know. Body has to adjust again.
So I edited through here for time because we rolled through the neighborhoods. There's a lot of stop signs. I'm riding with Mark up there, just a little behind him, not drafting him or anything. We're just kind of rolling zone 1 out of here.
No. Eldred. It's a E-L-Dred. You bet.
This area goes to a beautiful road called Old Hempstead Road. Really nice.
The same bike.
We've come through here before.
Whoa! What was that?
I'm just a little bit behind Mark, probably about half a bike length. Just kind of stretching, sometimes when I stand in a gear, it helps loosen up, just make the body feel like a relief in a way.
Clear.
We're talking about just all the fuss that people give the yard. We have people that show up to cut other people's yard in my neighborhood, and it'll be raining and they say they're cutting. You can't cut the grass when it's wet. It's just not a good idea. And we saw these guys blowing wet leaves. Paul and I saw them with blowers in the rain. The leaves are wet. Nothing's moving, just so they can pick up the money that people leave. Because people are not home when they come. So they're not really doing anything. I'm like, You know, but those are the choices people make. You throw money at somebody for doing nothing, they'll take it. During the winter, the grass does not grow. So you can see it's brown. Look to the right. That's St. Augustine grass is what we use around this area. They grow best out here. And during the summer, they grow like crazy. You have to cut the yard every week, sometimes twice a week. But during the winter, they're dormant. And you never want to trim stuff when they're dormant. You want to wait till right before the growing season, because it's like you're waking it up. Certain plants, if you trim them in the winter, you can kill them because they get exposed to cold weather. You know, a lot of people are not aware and they're just out there doing stuff. This is not the time to fuss with the plants. Just leave them alone. You know, it's just in the spring, that's when you start trimming, right before they start growing. I don't put any chemicals in my yard. I just leave them. I mulch the leaves, so all the animals really love hanging out in the yard. The chemicals, they're just not good for the groundwater, some of the stuff that they sell. Plus, they're just pricey. If you have a big yard, you try to buy fertilizer, you go broke. I'm not sure what Rick is talking about here. I'm just listening to him. I'm not really talking. He's talking about a bunch of different things. I'm just kind of rolling my gear. Not really riding at this point. You can see my cadence is low. We're just rolling out of this neighborhood. But as we go, Mark is just staying up front, up there. I'm sitting right here next to Paul, just kind of getting my body to get back into the swing of things. As we go, there was a curve coming on the right, and in a short while we go ahead and just kick up the effort, and we'll reel Mark in no time. He's not that far ahead. It's about maybe 5 seconds or so, 10 if that. But you will see right here, we start to pick up the pace. Change my gear, I just increased my cadence. This road is going slightly up here into the wind, and you can see we're moving almost 40 kilometers an hour, 38 kilometers an hour. We come up on Mark in no time. And then Rick just sits behind him, so I just sit there pedaling. We're heading towards 1486, and there's a lot of hills up and down. So you always have to think about what's to come and not use your energy at the wrong time. So we're already here with Mark. We're just sitting on it right now. You can see the road goes up in the distance. Let's get a view of it. Right there, it's between the trees. Though we did all that work to reel Mark in, I'm still in zone 1. That's why you have to work on your fitness. The road's going up here. it so nobody can cut the corner. I'm telling Paul right there that we're going to not turn on Jackson Road, that we're going to go north on 1486. But they're going back into town, and it's just like almost 9:30 in the morning. It's kind of early. We're going to head out. We ended up doing over 7 hours on this ride. Let's cut through here, this construction barrier. This side of the road is closed. So we check for traffic on the open lanes. We're gonna make a left turn at the light. Rick has already made the turn.
Yeah, I said this is the road I was
We go
on
ahead and
to
wait for the
Waco.
light. I sped it up here just for time. The light changes and we turn onto 1486. This is 1774 we've left, and we turn on 1486. This road has a lot of hills, and they will turn right on Jackson Road to go south. This road is headed north. We will stay north because we want to get more kilometers in. I go ahead and edit here for time, and I pull over to the right to let the guys know you need to come around. Nobody wants to come up. And then they're finally coming up, and I let them know we're going to be pulling up. So Neville tells Paul, see you later.
All right, man. Take care.
But we're just going to sit on their back, and since we were not going to turn with them, we decided you guys come up ahead, we'll just sit on the back of the baseline. That was our intent anyway. But you will see that later on, Victor gets to the front, changes the pace, the group starts to spread out, we decide to play, so we go ahead and move on up. So it gets pretty interesting in a little bit. In a few kilometers, put it that way. So we're discussing what we're gonna do with our route. You know, since we're out here already, we're finding ways to do even more hills. So during the week, we don't have time to get out here. So once we're out here, we'll do it. At this point, they're not really going that hard. We're just kind of rolling along with them. Get closer here as the pace starts to pick up a little bit. I'm not sure who's at the front at this point. It's still fairly easy. The early part of this road just mild climbs, nice rollers, and then the last few kilometers before Jackson Road, it starts to heat up. Stay over to the right because the shoulder's fine, it's clean, and this is a fairly busy road. There's no reason to be in the main lanes at this point anyway. So Victor that's up there. Oh, I don't know who's in front of me. I think Rick is pulling right now. It's hard to really tell for sure. Yeah, green, let's see, green jersey. It looks like Rick is in front of Victor. pulling. Victor is on Rick's wheel. And then I think Mark is behind Victor. And then Paul H is behind Mark. Then Neville, Michael, me. And then Paulie Lunga is with the camera behind me. That's the order. And the order is important because Victor starts to press on in about maybe 5 kilometers from now. And after he does that, Mark attacks. I go with Mark. And then we drop the hammer and just shred the group. And a few people come up. Because I really didn't go full gas. But basically the people who were pulling early could not go with us. The riding I did in December where I dropped some kilos has really increased my power to weight ratio. So my watts per kilo is up. I can tell. There's a lot. They're building a loop over there that we just went through, so you see all the mud on the road. Construction. Probably going to be an overpass over this highway. Michael's hand, his left hand is numb. He's shaking. He shook it a little while ago. His saddle is tilted down, and so he's putting weight on his hand. So many riders have that setup. I don't know where they get the idea that it's okay. The saddle's pressing on you, it's too high. Move it down, don't tilt it. Better yet, get a fit. I've optimized my position many years ago before I started doing fit professionally. I re-engineered my position when I used to compete. So even on the hoods, I'm very aero. As a result, I don't have any pain in my lower back when I ride. Because I've unloaded my lower back, kind of like when you bend to pick up a box. Sitting upright puts strain on your lower back when you cycle. Look how high Neville sits, the guy in front of Michael. Very high. That's not a position that's optimal. Catching too much weight. And you put strain on your lower back when it's time to really go hard. So it's kind of hard to ride long when you got all those aches and pains from a position that's not dialed in. That's part of the issue. Fit is not new. It's been around forever. You look at guys like Jacques, the late Jacques Anquetil, Eddie Merckx, all those guys. That's the classic road position that is showed. Fausto Coppi, all the top champions have the classic road positions. Fit is not a fad. There's a way to do it for road riding, and it just works. There's nothing revolutionary per se. People get crazy with the sloping tubes and getting smaller frames and longer seat posts. You still have to put things in the same position in space, even with all that. I prefer a conventional road frame like Cannondale makes, like my bike in the film here. The blue bike is a sloping tube. I don't see that being a benefit. Victor takes over after Rick pulls off. I think as he pulled, I don't know if Rick is pulled. Rick is still there, but he pulled off. register at this moment. Yeah, it's at 1%. It's gonna go up level, and then you see it up there. It goes up again. It's these little undulations at this pace that if you're not prepared, your legs feel it. Going back up again. I think Rick has just pulled up. He's on the right, or is he still there? He's sitting to the right. Victor's on his left. So I don't know if he's pulled up or not, but somebody's catching too much wind. That's what I talk about. That's not efficient. If someone's pulling, get on their wheel. See where I am? That's where the draft is. That's why I'm on the right. I'm in my own echelon. That wind's coming from the left and in our face. So Rick is sitting on the right up there. I don't know if he's in front or he's drifted to the side or he's pulling, but they're riding two abreast at the front. Everybody else is in a line, so I don't understand what's going on up there. But someone's catching a lot of wind at the front. It's like two people sitting at the front side by side. That's hard, and they're not saving any energy by riding like that. And they pay the price in a little while. You'll see it. Both of them get shelled. That's what happens. You want to look hip instead of doing what you should be doing. See where I am? I'm in a pocket. There's no wind down there. We're going up here. It may not register, but it's going up. Now it says 1. It's going up. I feel it. And we're riding pretty hard. So I'm just fighting in the pocket. I see Victor sitting on the left. And it looks like Rick is still there. So they're riding side by side into the wind up a climb. I'm not sure why. And those are the two that you will not see in the picture when we drop the hammer in a few kilometers. So just remember that. Anytime you're riding in a group, save your energy till it really matters, till it counts. Don't ride like a flash in the pan. These are just the what I call the teasing roller hills. They're not the main ones. Look in the distance. Look at that road going up. I don't know why Michael likes to drift into traffic. He does this stuff every time we ride. He'll drift into traffic. He didn't even look behind. Just drifts over. And he annoys a lot of other road users. They're always blowing at him. Because he scares them. You need to have a predictable line of travel. If you're using the shoulder, use the shoulder. You're gonna use the main lane, use the main lane. He's drifted over to the right. See, back and forth, back and forth. Instead of finding a spot and just staying there. And sometimes he'll drift way out into the main lane and then go back to the shoulder. So the drivers blow their horn because they don't know what he's doing. They don't know what he's communicating by his position. Everybody's riding the shoulder. He's drifting back and forth. So I'll move to the right there. That's where the draft is. I'm in a nice little pocket. I'm not working hard. Look at my heart rate, 136. That's zone 1. And they're riding hard. So you have to use your head. That's why the French say head and legs. Right here, look at Mark. Working hard. Victor is pressing on now. He's decided to ride past Rick, who they've been riding side by side for all these kilometers, wasting all that energy. You're not going to see Rick again. Just watch. At this point, they start pressing, and so you see Paul Ilonga has ridden up to Paul H's wheel here. You will see me come on the left because when I realize that they're forcing the pace, I decide to just move up. There I am. I move up. We're going hard here now. You can see my heart rate jump like 20 beats because I kicked it to get up here. They want to play out. I'm ready to play now. I look back for traffic. I look back before I came. I keep checking. The lane is clear, so I sit there for a while. And then Paul Ilonga leaves a gap here, and I slip behind Paul H. Because I want to be close to the action. When it gets hard in the group, you don't have to worry about positioning because it takes legs to be at the front. When it gets really hard, you will find the space. Because only the stronger riders will be at the front. So I know something's up now. You can see our speeds. So all the people who are wasting energy, Rick sitting up there for all those kilometers side by side with Victor, you won't see Rick again. Because he's back there trying to rest, and he didn't get the chance to rest because the impetus was on and the pressure stayed on. So all these things I'm pointing out is not about the people in this film. It is about what you must not do. It is about you making decisions when you ride or race or do a grand fondo. Learn to be efficient. Save your energy for later in the ride. Because for us, let's see how many kilometers. 50 kilometers, 56, 60 is about 35 miles or so. Let's see. This is, I mean, we ended up doing 180 kilometers. We got 130 kilometers to go. So for us, this is just the beginning of the ride. That's how we think. We're not trying to impress anyone. We're just riding, using the least amount of energy in the smallest possible gears. You can see by my body motion that we're working. But because of where I am and my level of fitness, I'm right now just entering zone 2. So everybody's got different levels of fitness, so when you go to a ride, you got to be careful. If you're not feeling too strong, don't go to the front, sit in and draft. Don't let gaps open. That's smart riding. And the other riders would thank you for that, because that's what they that's what they respect. People who save their energy so they don't have to wait. Now watch, it's getting harder. You see the body language in front of me there. So Victor pressed on after sitting next to Rick for all those kilometers. And at this point, what's happening is he's got Mark behind him who was feeling good. I'm behind him, and I'm keeping my eye on things. And I was like, okay, I feel like playing. He didn't know that. So he's pouring it on here still. And right here, you will see he pulled off. Well, guess what? We weren't slowing down. Mark attacks right there as Victor pulls off. That's what you gotta watch. Boom! I jumped on his wheel. That's why you gotta be in the right gear. I just used my acceleration. Look at the gap we put on Paul A. I just rode up the mark. When you have the right gear, this road is going up. It's flipping one and two, whatever. It's going up. It's hard. We're going hard here. I'm sitting on Mark's wheel as he goes, and I watch his body language, and he's just straining. The gear he's in is too large. I can kick it right here. That's cadence. And he just kills himself to get on my wheel. Look at that. I didn't realize that because I did not look behind. And I wasn't trying to drop it. We were just going. And so Paulie Lunga here is with the camera. Mark and I are going. Now Neville comes around, and I think Michael will come around. And I don't know if Paul H comes around. But you notice there's no Victor, there's no Rick. You don't see them again. They paid the price because we didn't back off. The gap opens. Paulie Lunga is waiting to see who's going to come around him. That's why you see this little gap between the camera. He wants to see who's going to come around. There's Michael. I don't know if anyone else comes around. I wasn't looking behind. I just kept riding. The effort went down. The road flattened out a little bit. I wasn't trying to drop him, so I didn't shift up. I just kept riding. I didn't back off. It got easier because the terrain changed. And because I did not shift up to a harder car. Had I done that, Mark wouldn't have been able to stay on my wheel. Because he took every ounce of energy to just get to my wheel. So you need to really make sure you save something. They're gonna be turning after this hill here. There's a turn on the right. We're going straight. Paulie Lunga has ridden back to us at this point. But you will see it's so hard that Mark actually yells to ask me, are you going straight? Because he starts to slow down. I don't. I keep riding. They're pointing to go right. I'm already down the road. I'm looking for Paul. I move out into traffic so that car over there would not turn, knowing that I was going straight. You can see I'm already down the road. So after this corner, I kind of back off the power and wait for Paul so we can go riding, because we're just starting here.
So that's it. I hope you guys got a chance to get out there and get some K's in. But this is what we did on Saturday.